Okay, so welcome everyone to this Lunch and Learn, and we're delighted to welcome Anthony and Melissa, who I will hand over to them directly, and they can introduce themselves and present their presentation. So many thanks.
Great, thank you, Lucy, and thank you everyone for joining and giving us a piece of your lunch hour. We appreciate it. So, we are Bilendi. We're going to talk about how to make AI easy, all orientated around helping small teams make a big impact. Um, so, to introduce myself, my name's Anthony. I'm the sales director for qualitative solutions here at Bilendi.
And
Melissa.
yeah, hi everybody. I'm Melissa. I am senior consultant for qualitative solutions, also at Bilendi, based out of our Paris office. So, coming to you from, as we established a bit before the recording started, the glamour capital. Nice to see everybody here.
Yeah, and I'm in Hemel the other glamour capital of Europe.
Clearly.
Um, Yeah. So what we're going to tell you about today is a few things. So first off, who Bilendi is from a high level. We're going to talk about Bilendi Discuss, which is our asynchronous qual research platform and tool. And the topic is about AI made easy. So we're going to introduce you to our AI assistant, Barry. Barry can do a ton of things for you within the confines of your qual research projects, can help you launch a project faster, allows you to work smarter. All of the kind of automation and efficiency benefits allows you to tap into larger sample size and do qual at scale and quantified qual. And you can extend your capabilities within a project without extra overhead, making you potentially more competitive and allow you to win more bids. And from a time point of view, this allows you to have more time back, to be more creative, to think more strategically, to do the things that are kind of hard to find the time to do because you're spending a lot of time doing the kind of repetitive administrative tasks that are involved in qual research projects. But to take a step back, Bilendi, you may know us over the years for quantitative data collection. So we have 37 proprietary panels all across Europe and Latin America and the US and UK. We've been well known for that for a long time, helping out with surveys, recruitment and sample incentives. We also have a qualitative division. So we have Bilendi Discuss, which is the tool we're going to talk about today. We also have a UX platform called Tandems or Bilendi UX now, and we can help out with qual recruitment and full service qual support also if that's needed. And we have teams all over the world, in particular Europe and Latin America. So when it comes to those kind of international projects, we can support with boots on the ground in different locations. So I'm going to hand off to Melissa to tell you more about Bilendi Discuss.
Absolutely. So, yeah, Bilendi Discuss is a research platform for qualitative studies, but that really can harness that power of the quantitative insights. So, it being online and it having this AI integration means that you can go really increase your ins, do some quantitative measures, some kind of quantify the qual. And so we'll be looking at a little bit of that. What you see here are sort of two experiences of the platform. The idea here is that you can optimize your target audience understanding. So whatever your audience is, you can do diary studies, you can do usage and attitudes, all different kinds of things to optimize your understanding. And you can also do those really strategic explorative studies via these platforms as well. It's flexible, it's scalable, it gives you those really pertinent, actionable insights, and ideal for, as you will see, collaboration as well as the individual interactions. So if we go forward to the next slide, what you're going to see here is that so Bilendi Discuss is sort of the platform as a whole. There's one back office that is going to support two user experiences. So the user experience on the messaging app, that would be things like WhatsApp, on Facebook Messenger. It's really directly to those apps. There's no need for participants to download anything, to use anything else, but you get to collect the data on the back end in the Bilendi Discuss platform. And then the other user experience is the web portal, and that one is for more collaborative, sort of the online focus groups, and you can go quite large in your number of participants in both of these actually as well. But really good collaboration on the web portal, and that messaging app, great for the one-to-one interaction. So what you'll see in the next slide is that we have the two user experiences really displayed for you here. The messaging app, you can see the different apps that it's available on, and then you can see that people can send voice messages, they can send photos, they can send videos, all different kinds of things, and you can have that one-to-one kind of conversation directly with them. And then in the web portal, it's a website. It looks a bit like Facebook, if you're kind of familiar with that. And so you can see that in both these cases, it's that really familiar online, social media style environment in any case that tends to elicit more genuine, authentic reactions because people are in a place where they're already comfortable. They already know how things work and feel at home, feel themselves in those spaces. So I think we can go on and, yeah, there we go, have a look at some of the different study types that are commonly run on Bilendi Discuss. Our bestseller, that usage and attitude study, kind of in the middle there, often run on the web portal. That is for that collaboration to be able to not just keep in the individual bubble, but to be able to know what the kind of collaborative thought around an issue or a topic, a product, any of those things might be. And we also then can do, focus group prep, brainstorming workshops are great. We have a lot of naming studies, that kind of thing that are done on Bilendi Discuss. Those are all on that collaborative web portal side. Then on the more individual interactions on the messaging app side, you have things like consumer diaries that work really well, ethnographic or ethnographic studies, as it's all done online. Watch parties and event feedback are done really well via the messaging app. So lots of different styles of studies that can be done here.
So I want to take a second to introduce you to Barry here, who is the kind of qual research assistant that we've developed that can help you with all of these different project types that Melissa walked us through. So Barry stands for Bilendi Artificial Research Intelligence. We've done a ton of work to make Barry a true quali and a true AI assistant that can help you in many different ways to make your AI support easy, as the title suggests. When we've developed this, we've always been thinking about what makes a good partner, what's going to be important to our researchers and users. And so one of those things is that the AI needs to really understand market research and really know the ropes when it comes to what's important. This has all been developed from the Paris office, from Melissa's office. And over there's a full service qual research agency team that work with our clients in France who truly understand qual research, who know what matters and what's important. And they've been the ones who have developed Barry and given Barry the skill set she now has. It's also important for our clients to be able to utilize the AI as they see fit. Some people are more comfortable, some people want to be cautious. All of that's very understandable. So it's all at your fingertips. You can turn things on and off as you wish, and you remain in control throughout the whole flow. But in general, what we've tried to do is create a workflow so that Barry can support you throughout the whole flow of a study. So that goes to developing a guide, scripting the study, moderating, field management, analysis, and reports. These are all different sections or phases of an asynchronous qual project, and Barry can help out throughout the whole journey down the road. It's not intended to replace the human researcher. It's there to be your partner and to support you and to allow you to do things quicker, more effectively, easier, all of those aspects just to support you in your project delivery. So a big kind of challenge with these types of projects is being faced with a blank page, whether it's a new client, it's a new topic, what to do in terms of the structure of the study. Maybe it's a blank page that you're faced with when it comes to moderating particular questions, or a blank page when it comes to writing the report. All of that takes up a lot of headspace and a lot of mental energy and time. So Barry can help you in those instances by putting something forward so that you can take that into consideration and maybe use it as you take the next step. So when it comes to developing the guide at the first steps of a project, Barry can help with this. The infrastructure, the user experience on the platform is you will tell Barry about the study parameters. So the title, the objectives of the project, the topic, the things that you are important to you and your end client, what you want the study to achieve. So that includes the country, duration, number of participants, different participant groups, that type of information. So Barry is then going to go away having and have a think based on all the training we've done with her and come back to you with a proposed structure, a proposed flow for the project. So this is a collaborative experience. You can then edit, make changes to what's been put forward. It's going to be based on different phases to the study. Each one's going to have a title, a goal, a description, a duration. So you can easily make changes to that and get it to a place that you're happy with. Once you then give the thumbs up and approve, Barry will go away and build the project in terms of utilizing the different tasks and question types, designing the overall structure and flow, and actually script it on the platform. So it's sort of two steps in one there, two big steps in one. At that point, you can download the guide in Word. That's something that you've kind of worked on together, but Barry's actually built the questions. You can then share that with your client or your colleagues on the project. Or you may also wish to go in and actually take a look at what's been built on the platform. This is in German, by the way. So Barry can build studies in other languages for you if you want, and you can work with it in English, but Barry could build it in German. At this point, when it comes back to this blank page point I mentioned earlier, you might want to make some changes to this. But doing that is going to be a lot quicker than building it from scratch. And if you wanted to be super quick about this, that whole workflow could take 10 minutes if you want it to be super speedy. So Barry can help beyond the guide creation phase. The next step is the moderation during the study, whether that's a short study or a long study or a multi-market study. And Barry can also help out with the task level analysis. So when it comes to moderation, we appreciate that this is something that people want to keep control over and people have understandable concerns about. So we have a semi-automated option, which is where Barry will suggest probes and follow-up questions, all based on the objectives of the study. And then you can approve or decline them, or of course you can moderate yourself. If you want to go automated, which is where Barry will moderate live in the moment, you have different levels of intensity, low, medium, and high, which is all about the frequency of the messages. Bear in mind, you might want to just turn Barry on to do moderation over the weekend, or maybe after hours, or maybe in markets where you don't speak the language and don't necessarily want to get language support. So this is all at your fingertips. You can use things as much or as little as you want, but that flexibility means it's all in your hands. So when it comes to Barry's moderation, it's always going to be around the objectives of the project. The purpose of the study is for you and for the objectives and goals, the things you're trying to find out for your end client. You'll always be asked to input that into a study. Platform wants to know what you're looking to achieve when it comes to moderation. This is an example, a project about fashion. So this is the objective, to understand people's relationship with fashion and clothing today in a context where ecological demands seem to be at odds with the consumerist tendencies of this field. This question is about your wardrobe. Tell us a bit about your wardrobe. So Ruby here has given a long response with a ton of different things. A little bit of it says, I follow sustainability principles. Because that's the objectives and purpose of the study, Barry's identified that and orientated the follow-up probe to that. So Barry said, it's fascinating how you prioritize sustainability in your wardrobe. Could you tell us more? And that's elicited a longer response from Ruby with more context, with more information around the objectives of the study. Barry's also going to take into view the participant's perspective. So just as in any kind of natural conversation, when someone says something and it's clear that that's what they're focused and interested in, Barry's going to pick up on that. So Barry uses natural language processing to be able to identify what's important to the participant and then have that flexibility to take the conversation in that direction if that's appropriate. So same question, same study here about your wardrobe. Angel Kisses said, clothes show and express how I feel that day or for that occasion. They make me feel smart or can be cool. Again, amongst all sorts of other bits of information. And Barry's identified that there's an emotional connection here and that's what's relevant to Angel Kiss. So Barry said, could you share an example of an outfit that made you feel especially confident or comfortable recently? So it's about your objectives, but it's also about the flexibility to see what comes up from the participant and to go in that direction as and when it's appropriate, which is, what's important in moderation. So Barry can also help out with analysis at the task level. So for each question, Barry is able to give you a synopsis of what's been said, a quick summary of the results. So that's on the left-hand side here. You'll get that. So say your wardrobe question, maybe there are 100 different responses. Barry will give you this synopsis. Barry understands the structure of the project and the objectives and is able to give you that summary. Also breaks it down into different typologies or groupings of opinions. And then it said for each one what they said and why. And then importantly, because this is AI, we show you the verbatims and how that conclusion has been calculated, because we want you to have full confidence in what's been said and to be able to map it back to the source. You're able to look at different groups and do, search across different segments and then do side-by-sides based on what's interesting to you. So the last kind of piece on the roadmap that we looked at earlier is the report. So at the end of the project, you're able to ask Barry to generate a PowerPoint report for you as a deliverable. If you use Barry to develop the study and develop the guide, all of that information is already going to be in there. Or you may want to make some changes or add it there then if you did it yourself. But either way, Barry needs to know what's important in the study. Barry will then come back to you with a proposed structure based on all the training that we've done with her. And that's going to be different sections to the report, what she thinks is best to include in those sections, a little area where you can say some very specific things about how you want it to be structured and what you want it to focus on. You're going to be able to pick the number of slides per section and then reorganize the kind of flow that you get back until you're happy with it. Because as I say, it's a collaborative experience. Then once you've approved, Barry will actually put together the PowerPoint report. That takes about an hour, which is a fairly long time in the AI technology world, but there's a lot of back and forth that goes on and a lot of magic, for want of a better word, that happens in the technology side to make this happen. And then you're going to get from the platform a PowerPoint report, which is structured in a way that you've defined and collaborated with Barry on. It's going to have native PowerPoint charts and graphs. It's going to have well thought out conclusions, arguments, verbatims, examples. All of that's going to be there for you.
Could you spend the time to pop Sainsbury's?
I know, I feel like answering that. And then you can obviously you may then want to make some changes to the PowerPoint report. But if you do that, it's going to be a lot quicker than putting together a PowerPoint report from scratch. And in general, this assistance from Barry and assistance from the AI when it comes to developing the guide, scripting, moderation, analysis, and the report allows you to do it quicker, do it more efficiently, and as I mentioned, have that time back to focus on strategic thinking. And it also allows you to be able to increase the sample size if that's appropriate and if that's of interest to you. So you can do qual at scale, you can do quantified qual. So within a study, once you've increased the sample size, you can have a mix of the quant and qual within one project, which obviously has its attractions. But yeah, let me hand over to Melissa now to take you through some case studies and examples.
Thanks so much, Anthony. Yeah, so we'll have a look at two different case studies here. First one we'll go a little bit more in depth on, and then the second one is just going to be a quick little one shot for you all. But you'll see some of the different things that you can do on the platform via these two case studies. So this first one here was with client Akudis. This was a single individual that we were working with in this company. So they were the only person that was running the study, doing the report, all of that. This is actually our first client to use all of the suite of Barry skills. So from guide creation through the moderation in the field, the analysis question by question, and then the reporting at the very end. And so you'll see what that looked like in this case. So this was a usage and attitudes and prospection study. So this was done on the web portal. We really wanted that collaboration for this. It was done in France. The client was in France. This was for a particular car manufacturer, a technology consulting company here. And we also, if you can click the little next button, there you go. As I said, used Bilendi Discuss and used the guide, the moderation, the analyses and reports from Barry. So that's what you're going to see here. So what they did, this consulting company, they're a small to mid-size, but again, this was just a single person that was running this this particular study. So this could be done by any single individual, exactly as she did. What she did was she wanted to understand the behaviors around a particular type of mobility, a new kind of mobility that people are generally not very familiar with right now. So you probably all know different types of car sharing, things like this. But this was a new type of car sharing just among individuals where a particular individual might not use their car very much and want to allow other people to be able to use it, not for profit, just for sharing the car and being able to use it. And so they wanted to find out whether people were had any particular thoughts about this idea without bringing this idea up from the beginning. So they wanted to first just elicit general ideas about mobility types, see if this came out in the conversation, see what people thought about it. And then at the very end of the study, this was a 10-day study, actually, no, almost 2-week study that was done. And they wanted to, in the very end of it, then bring up this specific type of mobility that then have people react to it and understand how that might reflect in terms of eco responsibility, things like that, on a car manufacturer who may want to put this service in place for clients, for customers. So this was what they were doing. And when they were going through, so first we did do a recruitment and segmentation with golden questions. And that then allows us to, first of all, we had a pretty high end. This was 100 participants in the community. So our recruitment was around 450 to 300 that we did in the recruitment questionnaire. It's really basically like a usage and attitudes survey, a little mini UNA survey that we did right up front, with those golden questions included. And so then that allows us to have that segmentation within the community as well. We can import that into the community and then use that to sort of redistribute our findings back into the general population and into those specific segments as well. So this was quantified qual. We did have the pre-field assistance that I mentioned with Barry. When Barry built this guide, we asked her specifically, please make sure that you do not talk about this specific concept until the very end. And at that point, please explain the concept to participants and ask for their reactions in a series of questions. And Barry did this perfectly. It was beautifully, if I do say so myself, beautifully structured. She really did very, very well following that directive. And so then we had her also, Barry, moderating and analyzing through the field. This was real-time moderation, so that means you're catching people in the very moment that they are already interacting on the platform. And then we also had the analyses with Barry to be able to be very agile, very flexible, give immediate feedback to her client, and then be able to adjust the study as we went as well. So if there were questions that we found, actually, this turns out we thought this was going to be pertinent for participants, but we see here it isn't, we can adjust the future questions, the coming questions accordingly. So it allows us to be really agile. And then the last thing was the reporting. So if you can just back up quickly, Anthony, just for me to touch on that reporting, then we did get the reporting in with Barry as well. Took less than an hour, about 45 minutes for Barry to generate this report for us. We did a few versions of it, and the client was quite happy to be able to present the entire findings, the entire study, about 3 weeks after having briefed us on the project. So that was great. So now we can go forward. Sorry about that, Anthony. So what we got out of this, sort of a before and after. Before, it would have been manual scripting. Now we have Barry doing the guide for us. Before, a brief, from brief to report, probably in 7 to 8 weeks. You have to do the recruitment, then the sort of small scale qual, then followed by traditional qual, followed by a large scale quant study to be able to confirm results. All of that, it takes time, and those are in the best circumstances. I think that it's 7 to 8 weeks, nobody's on vacation, that kind of thing. Here we were able to go from brief to report in 3 weeks, and with reliable insights at the end of that could be attributed back to the general population. This was before she would have done, actually, she would not have run this study before. She would not have had the bandwidth to run this study before. If she had, it would have been small, traditional qual followed by the quant follow-up in order to have findings that were reliable. So here she was able to do this all in one go. As single individual with very limited bandwidth, really accomplished a lot in this study. Limited man hours before, and here she was freed up to really dig deeper. So that was this first study. Another just very quick one-shot story for you all. This was a diary study for a whiskey brand that was done on the messaging app. This was a 3-day diary, really interesting, Friday to Sunday, and with about 25 participants. We asked, actually the consultant asked these participants to, on Friday, when they did their shopping, take us with them via their messaging app, via WhatsApp, take pictures of the shop that they went to, of the drink aisle that they were on, of what they ended up buying. Then throughout the weekend, they could simply click a little button in their WhatsApp and let us know that they were in the process or about to have a drink, and tell us what drink they were having, share photos of the drink, of the entire experience, the ambiance around them, videos, all of that, to really understand the real world consumption of this whiskey, but also of other spirits, and catch people really in the moment of what they were doing, of experiencing this. So that is exactly what they loved about Discuss. This was really easy to use, easy to set up, and that ability to catch people in that moment of consuming these spirits, understand the use of the product in the real world, in the wild. So those are our 2 little case studies. We have many, many more, so feel free to ask about more.
Thank you so much. Just conscious of time, the half an hour goes so quickly, doesn't it? I don't know whether you can see some of the questions that have come through on the chat. There's one about, what can you tell us about data privacy and security?
Yeah, so data privacy and security, all of this is, of course, secured. We use with ChatGPT, we use their business license. This is an API. It is not the public-facing link. And so all of it is guaranteed to be secure. They take a lot of security steps, so do we. And also, no information is ever sent to ChatGPT without an action on the part of the researcher. And the information that is sent is the verbatims, the question, never the personal information, the person's name, any of that stuff. None of that is ever sent.
Thank you. Question about language. Can Barry use UK English or only US? And is it available in other languages?
It is available in other languages. Right now we have about 26, I think, languages that it's fully developed in. If there's one that's not on our list, we can develop it. So you can always ask us. And UK versus US English, there's not a differentiation in our system between the two, but what happens sort of is that ChatGPT and so Barry sort of adjusts to whatever you're using with her. And so if you're using more of the UK English in the brief or the participants, then she kind of naturally adjusts as well and uses something similar. Not systematically, but generally speaking.
There's a question about pricing. I don't know whether you want to answer that now and or send me sort of some pricing guides that I can send out with the
Yeah,
recording.
I can give a quick overview now and
Yeah.
then share some pricing examples afterwards, of course. So there's no like commitment cost, there's no subscription, you don't need to sign up to anything long term. Do it on a project by project basis. The variables are the number of participants and the duration of the study. And then you have two different options when it comes to the support from Barry. Barry Standard includes moderation and task level analysis. And if you would like Barry to help with guide creation, scripting, and produce a PowerPoint report at the end, that's Barry Plus, and there's an additional cost for that. But I'll share it all afterwards. And if anyone wants to talk about a particular project, then of course let me know. And here's my email address.
Yeah, thank you. And just one last question here from Lynn. We've used Inkling for some time, recently trialed Coloop. Is Bilendi discuss a combination of those?
Yeah, well, yes, to some extent. I know that Coloop, so from the kind of data collection perspective, which Inkling does, it's used in a very similar way from that point of view. Or they don't have the messaging app route where you can reach people on WhatsApp and Facebook Messenger and things like that. And then I think what's great about Bilendi Discuss is you have the two in one. So I think what you say is right. You get the benefits of both kind of systems in one go. And with it being able to produce a PowerPoint report at the end and take a look at the project holistically, and then give you a deliverable that you can work with, then that's like a huge advantage from a time and cost saving point of view. And you don't have to interact with two platforms.
Thank you. Okay, unfortunately, we've run out of time, so thank you so much, Melissa and Anthony. Thank you for everybody for coming. As I said, I will send out the recording along with the pricing very soon, early next week probably. And yes, thank you. Please stay in touch with us. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you very
everyone.
much.
Take care.